Well, hello everyone, TheOntarioGardener here, back with another Turkey Day update, new food automation tutorial. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about the breadboard, and because I have a little bit to talk about, I'm going to let this run because you have your normal combiner with the sink trick to give you your dough ball. Now, this is using a method where nothing burns. Now, typically, if you're having, like, say, auto toasts for your auto toast run, you'll still use a safety hob, but the initial one takes a long time to cook compared to, say, doing it in the oven. Now, the breadboard uses the same boards as the cheese board. So if you have both of those, this is obviously a starter, the cheese boards are a dessert, but you're going to have to be, I'm just cleaning these messes as we go. You have to shuffle the boards. You get 8 boards per tray. When your first loaf is done, it'll come over here and it'll start portioning off as it normally does. And there you go. It'll portion all of these back off as normal. And each loaf can supply can supply 5 breadboards, because that's what it does for that. And there you go. So by the time you portion out 5 of them, your other bread loaf will likely be just about finishing. Now again, this is taking into account that you're serving 5 boards at one time, which typically you're not going to be serving 5 boards at one time unless you have larger groups or you really have a run where there's a lot of people. And there you go. This is basically the way you have this set up. Is it fast? No. Is it fully automated without burning? Yes. Now, one thing that I would do in between here, so if you have a counter, obviously you can upgrade a counter to get either a prep or workstation or a freezer. I'm just going to get out of this. So the better way to do this would be to replace the counter with a freezer. Because by the time you get in, again, since this is a starter dish, at the end of the day, this will be sitting idle, which means there'll be a loaf in here. And if there's like only say 2 slices left, you could take out you could take out a couple pieces and just throw them in the garbage or just place them in random spots. So you end up with a perfectly full loaf at the end of the day. I mean, it takes a bit of timing to do that. Now, could you put this system with a prep station? And the answer is yes. You have to move some of these things around, but this tutorial is not for using prep stations. This is for doing the most compact way you could do it when you have full auto when it comes to combining. Now, again, you could put this down here and you could get rid of the counter, but again, if I'm looking for basically blocks, we're looking at a 5x3 block. You could stick that in random spots. Could you get away with doing this in a 2x block? Yes. You would just take a little bit more finessing as far as with the grabbers and how you have the combiner with the sink set up. But you could do this in a two wide area, like over here in this section. You could set it up for that. You might need a few more grabbers or some plain conveyors to make that work, but it is possible. But yeah, this is the basic layout for what I found to be the most compact. Now again, you could replace these 2 with a mixer, but the problem is the mixer will end up making pies. And unless you have a smart grabber grabbing, say, the pie crust off of it and putting it into a jiggly bin, that's not really feasible. I mean, it would work just fine because you're not using that much bread. Now, again, if you also have the breakfast dish and you're trying to incorporate that into this design, it takes a little bit more finessing. You wouldn't be able to have these automated, but again, that's a later video when I do automating toast as well as the breadboard, because with the toast, you actually have to cook it a second time. So this setup here wouldn't exactly work, but again, that is for a later tutorial. So anyway, thank you guys for joining me. It's pretty straightforward. It's your basic automation to getting for your breakfast run, doing your toast, minus having the second safety hob actually cooking the loaf a second time, or using the safety hob to cook the toast or the bread a second time. Otherwise, it's pretty much exactly the same layout. You could maybe make this a little bit nicer by rearranging some of these things, but because the way it's laid out, you can't really make it any more compact, I don't think, or at least that would make sense. I mean, you have 1 extra block here, which is fine, but it's still a 5x3, so it's only 15 square blocks, so not too bad at all. Again, if you're not looking to automate putting the bread on, all you would do is basically have it go to a portioner here, and you'd grab this manually and take it off of here manually. You wouldn't be using these other 3 things here. But again, it doesn't really matter because you're looking for full automation, meaning you're actually plating it as well. Anyway, guys, thank you for joining me. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please consider leaving me a like as well as a comment on the video. It would be much appreciated. And if you're enjoying this automation series, the new update, or anything else on my channel, please consider leaving me a subscribe. It would be much appreciated. And I'll catch you guys next time with an all new PlateUp Turkey Day update automation video. Take care now.